Hello everybody, welcome to a new tutorial from Sound for More. It's Leo speaking. Today I'm going to go through the updated version of Octachron. I have previously created a video on it, but since then a lot of things have changed, a lot of new functionality have been introduced. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe as it helps with growing the channel. Thank you very much. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to run Octachron, which is a drum MIDI sequencer inside AUM, so as an AUv3 instance, but of course you can also run it as a standalone version. So as you can see, we are inside AUM, and the first thing you need to do is to create a MIDI channel, and then in that MIDI channel to search for Octachron and of course load it. Then you need an audio source, and in this case you can choose a number of audio sources, and the beautiful thing of Octachron is that it gives you also the ability to have some pre-mapping already defined. So this is what it looks like, and if you click on the top left hand side on this icon, then you can load presets, save them and save new ones of course, but underneath that you have options for mapping, so you can load a map. And here it gives you a choices of predefined mapping. So for example, FAC, drum kit, or Digisticks, or Ruiz Maker, including FM, a Sugarbyte drum computer, SDS-X, etc., etc. So let's choose SDS-X. Okay, now I have loaded that mapping. So that means that I can load now SDS as an audio source, like so. And I need to make the connection, so I go in routing, and then I make the connection to Octachron, from Octachron to SDS, so I click here to establish the connection. Of course, another way would have been to click here on the left-hand side on the node, go to MIDI input, and then accept Octachron as a MIDI input into SDS. So, Octachron is a drum MIDI sequencer, so on its own, it doesn't produce any sounds, so you need to have an audio source, which in this case we have SDS-X. So Octachron will send MIDI messages to SDS-X in this case. It's very simple to use. In the middle, you have these 8 rows, and they are already defined, already mapped. So the first one is kick, snare, etc., etc., down to hi-hat open. So you have a grid here, which is split into 4 parts, and then each part is split further into 4 different steps. And just click on it to establish an event, like so. And let's click play on the transport control from AUM, and let's listen to the kick. So it's very simple to use, and then if you want to remove one step, just click on it again. So click to create a step and click to remove it, like so. And you can, of course, create whatever you like. On the top here, you can see this is highlighted. This is your pattern, right? You create multiple ones, so you can chain them together in a song. And you can see here a button which says song, which I'll show you in a moment. But let's go to the second pattern here, and let's create the same kick drum, but let's add also some snares, and let's click play. Pretty straightforward, right? Now I could go to the next one, of course, and continue like that. There are options that you can call upon. If you click shift here, it will show now some option. It shows you these up here, this key, where if you click on it, you go to a menu, which is a context menu relative to that pattern. Okay, and the same applies also if you click and hold shift here as well. Here on the left hand side, you can edit the settings for each row. Another way to reach that is to click and hold, like so, and you get to the same menu. Now in this case, you can see we can copy, paste, and clear. So let's copy, and then let's go to the next one, click and hold, and select paste. And now we have pasted a pattern from pattern number 2 into pattern number 3. And here, let's use some hi-hat, like so. There you go, let's listen. Perfect. Now let's go into the next one again. Actually, let's copy it again, this one. Copy. Let's go to the next button, click and hold, and then paste, like so. And let's add something else, like the repetition of the snare drum. Okay, so you can move from one pattern to the next as it is playing, and it will cue them. So it will finish first the pattern that is playing before going into the next one. A better way to, of course, chain them together is to click on song, and you will see number 0 now, apart from where you are, which says 1, because that is 1 which is going to play. Now, if I click play, it will play only the selected pattern. And the reason for it is that I have not defined how many times the patterns needs to be repeated. So click and hold on the first pattern and just say repeating song twice, let's say. The same on the second one, like so, twice. The third pattern, like so. And then on the last one, click and hold, and we just say 1. Now let's go back to the beginning on the first pattern, and the song is activated, so let's click play. So as you can see, as it got to the last pattern, the next one had repeating song 0, so it started again in a loop, which is really nice. And as you can see, I have set to repeat the first 3 patterns twice. You can see that after, when you start to play the first time, there is like a countdown from 2 to 1. And then when you play the first time, the countdown goes from 1 to 0. When you play the second time, it moves to the next one, right? And of course, you can go back to SDS, in this case, and change the drum kit as it is playing. Really nice, right? Okay, let me show you also something else. Let's say that we create a different pattern. So we just go to this pattern here, click on old, and you find that there is an interesting option here called Smart Randomise. So click on it and it will randomize a pattern for you. Let's listen. And let's remove song. Now let's activate song again. Let's go to the first pattern and let's click play and see what happens when it comes to the end of the 4th pattern. You can see it moved back to the first pattern and it didn't play this new pattern here. And the reason is because if you click and hold, it has repeating song 0. So let's add that to 1 and let's repeat the process again. As you can see, after the 4th pattern, it moved actually to play this pattern, which has been created using the Smart Randomizer function, and then it moves back at the beginning. If I want to avoid this movement, what I do, I go here on the sequencer settings, and I scroll down, and there is an option which says 0 pattern marks loop ending song. So activate that. And now let's repeat the process again. As you can see, it hasn't moved now to this pattern. And interestingly enough, let's click and hold here, copy this pattern here onto the next one, click and hold and paste. Now, if I press here and I select this button and I click play, let's listen and see what happens. So you can see it is playing between these 2 patterns and it never moves to this one. But if I click on one of these as these 2 are playing, it will move to those and it will continue looping this one. Let's try. So this function is actually really good, this settings here, which I have just enabled 0 pattern marks loop ending song, because it allows you to practically create this one like the intro. Then you can create something like the verse 1, verse 2, bridge, etc., etc. So it's really nice that it loops within the particular part and it waits for a pattern which, as the setting says here, a 0 pattern marks loop ending song. So remember that in terms of utilizing it. Also, you noticed that in terms of the countdown, that if you move to one pattern and you were already in the middle of playing, it will finish to play the pattern and then it will start the countdown. So it looks like it's playing one more time than the countdown has been set to. Okay. So the other thing to understand is as you move from one pattern to the next, it cues, right? Finish the play before you move to the next one. You can see that it finishes the pattern being played before it plays the one which you selected. If you don't like that, just set instant pattern switch, and in this case, it will move immediately to the pattern that you selected. You can see it is moving straight away to the pattern that you have selected. Okay, so other option here on the sequencer settings are clock divider. So let's play. The other thing you can do is also change the number of steps. You can see, you can reduce them like so. You can see the number of steps are being reduced now. And interesting here, you can set it 12 steps. In this case, you can have, for example, a 3 bits on a pattern 1, 2, and 3 instead of the typical even the 4, 4. That is how you do that. So let's reset these to 16 like so. Okay, perfect. And other option, click and hold. You can, of course, clear the pattern like so. Go to the next one, clear that as well, like so. Now, something interesting as well that you can do is if something is being played here and you want to, and you are on this pattern, for example, you want to edit another pattern here or down there, you click and hold here and you set edit without cue, and when you selected that, you can edit this pattern, but Octachron is playing the previous one, so it doesn't move to that one, which is really interesting. So to show you that, let's deactivate the song, let's enable this pattern here, and then I'll show you that I'm going to edit maybe this one here without moving to it. And then, of course, I selected on it again to have that pattern being played and therefore selected. So that is another useful setting to know. Other things, of course, you can do here, if you scroll down, you can move to the X, so left and right, or also up and down. So, and again, really, really handy. Of course, that doesn't stop there. It doesn't. So you can see underneath you have velocity, and you can change the velocity per row, which is really nice. So let's go to the hi-hat, and let's say that, for example, yeah, let's stick to that one. And we're going to have this one, which is much lower in velocity, and also that one, which is much lower. Let's play. Okay, and that's one way to do it. Let's go back to this other pattern, do the same, but let's also lower some other ones like that one, and let's listen. And hopefully, if you have headphones, you can hear the difference. Now, let me show you again how practical it is as a drum MIDI sequencer. Let's say that I had enough of that drum machine, and let's say that I want to use Maker, like so. I just load it. I establish the connection again between the two, like so. Perfect. Now let's go back to Octachron and let's load the mapping corresponding to Maker. Let's find it. There it is. And now let's click play. Simple as that. Really, really nice. Let's try another one. So let's go this time to DS-X. Okay, perfect. Let's establish the connection between the two of them, like so. Perfect. And let's go back to Octachron and load the corresponding mapping. Where is it? I passed it. There it is. Right, back at the beginning, play. Really, really nice indeed. So as you can see, you can load different mappings, and of course, you can customize your own. So if you click on customize here, you can choose, for example, which note you at the bottom here you want to have on which channel, and of course you can test it and you can also give it a name. So lots of different options, which I'll come to it in a moment. And you can also set the different CC as well with different CC numbers for that particular row as well, instead of having notes. So that is really, really nice. Other things that you can do, of course, you can mute each one of the different rows. At the bottom here, I showed you how you can change the velocity, but let me show you something else as well. So you click on here and you have other option like step repeat. So in this case, let's choose the snare, and you can see it changing at the bottom here, and then I can say repeat these twice. You see the division here as done by 2. So let's play this pattern now. So really nice, really straightforward to customize that. And you can do other things, for example, probability. So you can say, okay, let's change the probability for close hi-hat, and for that to be roughly 50%, and also for this one. And let's click play. And you can hear that sometimes this step is played like this one, and sometimes it's not, based on the probability that you have actually set down here. So really nice again. Next, you can change also the row length. So you can change here the row length as well, which is really nice again. And more importantly, you can also define the CC messages as well in terms of modulation. So when you selected one, you click on it again and select edit, you activate it. And here you can change even further settings. You can say change the chances of steps being played, and also to what range as well in terms of value. Again, here you have your CC names, which you can change, and then you have the CC number here, and then you can also test it here as well. So let's try. So this one is actually let's test it on the snare here. And so let's click on CC again, edit. So the CC here number will be 38. And then let's activate that one. Okay, so let's leave now Octachron. Let's go inside DS-X here. Let's click on the left-hand side. Let's click on this icon for the MIDI control. Let's establish Octachron as a MIDI source. Don't forget to do that, otherwise it will not work. And then let's choose a parameter which is being exposed by DS-X, and see if we can change that. So let's go for the cutoff. If we can find it, there it is. So let's enable that, and I think this was 36. Let's, if I remember correctly, which you can do also learning. Let's double check these again. 38 actually. So let's change that again to 38. So let's scroll down to the bottom, and let's find that cutoff. There it is, and let's change that to 38. Perfect. Next, we need to ensure that that effect is enabled as well. So let's choose low pass filter there. Okay, then let's go back to Octachron, and then let's draw something like that. Now you will notice that there are some steps which are grayed out, which means that CC messages are not sent because there are no steps. So CC messages will be sent only when there is a corresponding step. If you don't like that, go to setting menu and say CC on every step. And in this case, really nicely, you can then define a curve like so. Now, let's go back at the beginning and click play. So you can hear the cutoff frequency which is changing. And again, if I open Digistick 2, you can see the cutoff here being changed. And of course, what you can do is you can also click on the CC message again, and you can go on the corresponding one and then edit it like so. And then you can change the probability, sorry, the chances for a mutation and also the range. So let's change this one and also give it the maximum range and chance of to be really high. And you will see differences now in the behavior of the cutoff. So it is practically all over the place. But that is how easy it is to actually create a mutation for that particular CC number 38 control messages. So, right. And the other thing which I haven't showed you yet is that you can further customize the behavior of through mutations and of each row. So let's select the kick row. Let's click and hold. And you have access here to the smart randomizer. So the first thing I want to show you is you have density, number of steps, and also the level of randomization, which you can change. And when you have decided, click apply, and it will change, as you can see, the pattern and the number of steps and the randomization. And you can click apply as many times as you like. And it's really nice because you can do that at individual row level. Okay, really nice. And of course, let's put it back to what it was, like so. Click and hold again. This one is quite interesting. So let me click and play, and you will hear no difference, right? Right. So let's change the trigger, and this will introduce like Ghost or Phantoms steps to be played. In a way, it's acts like another probability settings, but it's really nice to have that again at row level. You have your usual action here. You can move left and right. You can clear the row. And of course, the setting I showed you earlier on. You can also move up and down here, the different rows. Okay, so hopefully this shows you more or less all the functionality that you have available within Octachron. It's really, really a nice instrument. Oh, actually, I forgot the swing. So let's listen to the swing, which is really nice. I should have remembered that. Here we go. So you can adjust the swing here in terms of strength. And then here you can decide if the swing is applied every other note alternative because it's set to 1. Or for an example, it will play straight 2 steps, and then it will play 2 with swing, or 3 or 4, 8, etc. So it's nice in terms of actually deciding at which point you have this listening or apply the swing. Really nice. And of course, you hear the sound a little bit muffled is because I have the cutoff set to on. And of course, you can set that back to normal. The other thing as well, before I conclude, at the bottom here for each row, you have a channel number, note number, channel number, which you can test as well. But here under the sequencer settings, if you scroll right to the bottom, you also have the channel number And if you say like channel 6, it says here it will overwrite individual row channel settings. So if I click and hold on the row and I move down, it says channel 6 now. So it has been overridden. So remember, another useful thing to check. So as you can see, it's really straightforward, and you can access the manual here, by the way, online, which is really good. And lastly, you can generate also a scale for the steps here that you want to use. You click on scale, you decide which octave, for example, to the bass note, also a scale or not that you want to use, and click generate, and it will generate for you the different notes which you can use to trigger an external drum machine. Or of course, click on it and go to the bottom, change the note number, name, and test it, and keep going. Okay, it's really a fantastic drum sequencer, really straightforward, nice and easy to use. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and as always, see you next time. Bye.